Hi, hello, and a very warm welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything about Alibaba dropshipping. So everything you need to know about Alibaba dropshipping, I will tell you in this video. Now, in order to start an online business, you need two things: a product idea and supply. If you already have a trending product in mind and your business plan in place, the next step is finding the perfect supplier. In our global village, it has never been easier to find a manufacturing or wholesaling partner halfway around the world. However, sourcing your products from overseas can still seem like a daunting task for new online entrepreneurs. In this video, we are going to look at how to effectively and safely source a supplier for your product idea using the popular business directory Alibaba. I'm going to introduce you to the pros and the cons of going overseas and show you how to navigate this new terrain so that you can lock onto the perfect supplier for your product idea and get started selling online. Now, what is Alibaba? Now, if you've decided and are determined to source your supplier from overseas, there is a good chance you will be buying from Alibaba. Now, by the numbers, Alibaba is actually the largest e-commerce company in the world, earning up to $78.6 billion in revenue in 2020. It's also the most comprehensive directory that connects suppliers, mostly from Asia, with buyers from all over the world. Now, the Alibaba Group owns 3 Chinese marketplaces, that is Taobao, Tmall, and Alibaba.com. And they have hundreds of millions of users and hosts hundreds of millions of retailers and products. There's not much you won't find in its directory, which is how it became one of the most popular destinations for online shopping. Now, is Alibaba safe at all? Now, since its launch in 1999, Alibaba has become one of the largest marketplaces in the world. Like many e-commerce marketplaces, a majority of merchants on Alibaba are reputable and trustworthy. The company also offers trade assurance, a verification program for select suppliers to protect your payments through the Alibaba.com payment platform. And the benefits of trade assurance include convenient payment options. Alibaba offers multiple payment methods including credit card, PayPal, and financing options for qualified US buyers. Now, the trade assurance is also beneficial in regards to payment security. It provides track and reconcile funds with suppliers and know when they receive your payment. It is also advantageous in regards to better support. Now, when working with trade assurance suppliers, refunds are available if you're not satisfied with the product's quality. Trade assurance protects you from getting scammed or receiving low-quality products from Alibaba. Even though there will be some back and forth between the seller and Alibaba during mediation, you will be protected from bad suppliers. This is not to say that working with dropshipping suppliers not in the trade assurance program is bad at all. It just means you'll have to do more research. Now let's take a look at several things you can do to protect your money when sourcing from Alibaba. The first thing that you need to remember is to verify your suppliers. Alibaba has its own verification program in place that includes several levels of verification. Now, in addition to Alibaba's verifications, there are also independent third-party services located in Asia that will visit factories on your behalf to verify the supplier and product quality. Depending on the size of your order, a few $100s extra for added peace of mind may be well worth it. The next thing that you really need to take into consideration to protect your money when sourcing from Alibaba is to ask questions and follow up. As you begin narrowing down suppliers, make sure to ask a lot of questions about their business and their products. Ask for a copy of their business license. Ask for a telephone number and actually call it. Have a Skype meeting with your contact. Ask for photos of the factory and sample products. Feel free to ask for whatever makes you feel more comfortable doing business with someone a world away. It wouldn't be crazy for you to even ask your factory contact to take a photo of themselves on the factory floor holding up the current day's newspaper and one of their products. Also, get samples. It should go without saying that before you invest any significant amount of money into inventory, you need to get samples to check and verify quality. Feel free even to contact them through another name, another fictitious name, and email and get an additional sample so that you can compare. Also, be prepared to walk away. If something is too good to be true, it usually is. So be prepared to walk away. Be wary of pricing or promises that don't seem right or that are way off from other suppliers you've contacted. Always be willing to walk away, folks, from a deal if something doesn't feel right. Trust your gut feeling. If you're looking for new suppliers on Alibaba, make sure to download the WeChat because you can then talk with potential suppliers in real time and get a better sense of what the working relationship will be like for your dropshipping store. So make sure to download WeChat. WeChat is WeChat. Now let's look at the difference between Alibaba and AliExpress because I'm sure you've also heard about AliExpress. Now, Alibaba and AliExpress are both Chinese-based online marketplaces made up of third-party sellers. The big difference between Alibaba and AliExpress is that Alibaba is for business-to-business transactions, whereas AliExpress is open to consumers. So whereas Alibaba is for business-to-business transactions, AliExpress is open for consumers. Now, Alibaba is for businesses looking to purchase large quantities of products from wholesalers at the lowest price. It's also the better choice for purchasing private label products because you buy directly from the manufacturer. And you can easily get a product with custom designs or logos because that's something that's added during the manufacturing process. Now, on the other hand, AliExpress provides dropshipping products at retail prices to anyone with no minimum order requirements. Items are usually pre-made, so there are limited customization options, and typically they tend to be more expensive. Sellers on AliExpress also tend to offer an e-packet shipping, which can help your e-commerce store deliver high-quality products to customers faster. Now, if you're running an e-commerce business and want to quickly source AliExpress products rather than work with wholesalers, now connect a Shopify store with Obalo. It will help automate your dropshipping service to free up time so that you can promote your products and increase your profit margins. Now, what are the pros and cons of Alibaba dropshipping? The most common reason many entrepreneurs look to Asia, and in particular China, for product supplies is to take advantage of the low manufacturing costs. Costs of manufacturing in Asia can be significantly lower than in North America and other parts of the world. So much so that it would be quite hard to start a dropshipping business if it wasn't for overseas manufacturing. Now, cheaper products costs are great, but they aren't the only reason Asia is an attractive place to find a supplier. There are some additional benefits as well. For example, lower manufacturing costs. Suppliers are generally much more open to working with smaller businesses and providing smaller quantities. You have high numbers of suppliers to choose from. There's a variety of products to choose from as well. Asia might be the only place that produces the item in some cases, and one-stop services like Alibaba have made it very easy to navigate and purchase from suppliers. Now, along with the advantages of sourcing from overseas suppliers also comes several disadvantages that store owners should be equally aware of. Now, some of the biggest disadvantages that you need to be aware of are perceived lower quality from customers. There is also the problem of lower manufacturing and labor standards, and also almost no intellectual property protection. Furthermore, you have language and communication barriers that can be quite difficult to overcome sometimes. Now, it is also difficult and quite costly to verify manufacturers and visit on site. In some cases, you have longer shipping time and cultural differences in business practices. Besides that, you have product importing and customs clearance issues to deal with and lower level of payment security and recourse. So what sort of dropshipping tips would I give you if you want to do it from Alibaba? What are the tips for buying from Alibaba that you would like to hear? Now, the very first thing that I would recommend to you when you want to dropship from Alibaba is begin your search. Buying on Alibaba and using the directory is fairly straightforward and similar to other marketplaces like eBay. So just first browse the product categories or do a search for the particular product you're looking for. There are two common approaches to doing a search on Alibaba. You can search for items based on product descriptions, for example, dog collars, which will give you thousands of results. Alternatively, from the drop-down menu, you can select suppliers instead of products and search for manufacturers that specialize in a particular type of item. Now, what should you look for on product pages? When starting your search for a supplier on Alibaba, there are a few things you want to look at and pay attention to on the product listing page. Look at the unit price. One of the first things you'll likely want to look at is the price. Now, that is extremely important. You might come across terms like F or B when you're looking at prices. F or B stands for free on board and means that the seller will pay all costs associated with getting the product to the marine port. That is the cheapest way to ship products from Asia, and the buyer will pay the cost of actually transporting the goods across the ocean to their final destination. So you will come across terms such as F or B, and that stands for free on board. And like I said, it simply means that the seller will pay all costs associated with getting the product to the marine port, and the buyer will pay the cost of actually transporting the goods across the ocean to their final destination. Also, look at the minimum order quality. Now, next, you'll likely want to look at the minimum order quality. Now, the minimum order quality is the smallest order a manufacturer is willing to accept. However, it's important to note that this is almost always negotiable. The next thing that I would recommend you have a look at is payment options. After understanding the price and the minimum order quantity, you will likely want to know how you can pay the supplier. There are several common methods of payment, and each has its pros and cons for both the buyer and the seller. Now, there are a few common payment options that I would like to shed some light on. Now, the first one is upfront TT, upfront bank transfer. The risk of doing that is very high. Upfront TT, that is bank transfer, the risk level is very high because with a bank transfer, the supplier will receive full payment before production starts. And this payment method bears a high level of risk to the buyer and generally is not recommended when dealing with an unknown supplier. There is little, if any, recourse to get your money back if something goes wrong. The other one is letter of credit. Now, the risk level is medium with this one. A letter of credit is fairly safe for both parties. However, it carries some complex procedures and is generally recommended only for larger purchases, like for $20,000 and above. The other payment method is Western Union, and the risk level is very high. This is a really risky payment method for the buyer that's not recommended when it comes to paying suppliers if the payment is not protected by escrow. Western Union generally should be used only when dealing with people you know very well. There is no recourse if something goes wrong. Another payment method is PayPal. Now, the risk level if you pay through PayPal is very low. PayPal is a popular payment method for buyers as it presents much less risk, ease of use, and generally good buyer protection. Although it's a popular option with buyers, it's less popular with suppliers due to difficulties in withdrawing money, high tax rates, and potential chargebacks from less than honest buyers. The other payment method is escrow, that is ESCROW. Now, paying through escrow, the risk level is very low. When using an escrow service, the buyer's money is held by a third party and is only paid to the supplier after the buyer confirms satisfactory delivery of their order. Escrow is a fairly safe payment method for buying and selling online because it protects both the buyer and the supplier. Generally, when you're starting, you'll probably want to look for or negotiate with suppliers to either accept PayPal or some type of escrow service to give you the highest level of protection. Next, you will need to think about contacting suppliers. Now that you understand how to better protect yourself when performing a transaction on the other side of the globe, it's time to contact some suppliers. When contacting suppliers overseas, email or WeChat likely will be your main method of communication. In many cases, suppliers will use a program like Google Translate to translate your email as well as their reply back to you. Remember, computer translation is still an imperfect art, so expect some errors and possible misunderstandings. To make sure communication is as clear as possible, keep your emails short, concise, well formatted, and free of spelling errors. This not only will help the manufacturer, but ultimately will provide you with more useful replies. Now, I'm just going to give you a tip. When asking your questions and formatting your emails to suppliers, it's best to number your questions so that they can easily reply to each one. This keeps the questions and communication clean and organized. The other step is requesting a quote. Now, requesting a quote, often referred to as RFQ or request for quote, is a relatively simple process. However, taking a few extra minutes to plan your email can make a significant difference in the number and quality of replies you receive. I'm going to give you a few important questions to consider for your email. Think about the minimum order quantities, MOQs. Even if a listing provides its MOQ, you should double check with the supplier to ensure accuracy. If the MOQs are much higher than what you know you can afford, you'll want to ask if they are willing to negotiate their minimums. Make sure to give them an idea of what you can afford. Keep in mind, minimum order quantity is almost always negotiable with overseas suppliers. The other thing that you want to consider when you are writing your email is pricing for samples. Now, samples are important to inspect for quality. You're going to want to ask what their pricing is for samples right away, because some suppliers that receive a lot of sample requests may charge full retail price for them. Others will offer samples at a discounted rate, and some may even provide samples for free if they feel you are a serious buyer. Also, when you're drafting your email, think about production pricing. Now, one of the most important questions is how much your products cost per unit. Many times on Alibaba, a supplier will give a range, like for example, between $2 and $3 per unit, for example, but you'll want to know exactly how much each unit will cost you. The other question you might want to ask in your email is production time. Now, knowing how long it will take to produce your order is a very important consideration, and depending on your exact business, time can be critical. Finally, you want to ask about payment terms. Now, many suppliers will require new businesses to pay for the full order upfront. This is important to know since inventory is a major cost for e-commerce startups. You may also want to ask if they provide payment terms on future orders. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is negotiate. Now, once you have begun conversations with several suppliers and have a good idea of each of their prices, MOQs, and payment terms, you can begin negotiating with them. As I mentioned previously, minimum order quantities are almost always negotiable. It's simply a matter of asking, really. Remember, a good negotiation leaves both parties happy with the outcome. So push a little, but not too hard. Now, the other thing is weighing your options. Now, once you've narrowed it down to once you have narrowed it down to a select number of suppliers, you'll want to weigh all your options. Keep in mind that when doing so, you'll want to consider more than just price, MOQ, and payment terms. Make sure you factor in how well and how quickly each supplier replied to you. Communication with your supplier can be a critical element of your business going forward, so you'll want to make sure you start off on the right foot. Now, if you want to, are you ready to become an Alibaba dropshipper and safely source products for your store? Now, sourcing a reliable supplier for your dropshipping niche from Alibaba might be a new experience, but also can be a rewarding one. With some basic knowledge and common safeguards, it can be a safe and profitable business model for your online store. Always do your due diligence, and if a deal feels too good to be true, be ready and willing to walk away, as I pointed out earlier on. There are 100 other suppliers you can find in just a few clicks. Now, happy sourcing. If you found this video helpful, please give the video a thumbs up, share the video with anybody else who may benefit from it, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because as you know, this channel is all about money. My goal is to help you to improve and thrive financially in all areas of your life. I do the hard work and you grow your wealth. So subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and while you're there, don't forget to have a look at the rest of the videos that I have on my channel, because I guarantee you that you will find a few of them that are going to help you in more ways than you probably are expecting. So go on, have a look at the rest of the videos, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video with anybody else who may benefit from it. Now, thank you very much, folks, and I shall see you in our next video. Bye bye.